Dear Diary, my life has been so busy lately. I'm surprised I even have time to enjoy the mere necessities of living, such as eating, sleeping, and even breathing. Half the time, I feel the choices I have made assure me that my life will be a constant reminder of how inferior I felt to my older sibling growing up. Being the younger sister of an extremely smart and talented young black woman was very intimidating from a young age. My sister always won every award and placed first in every academic competition there was. I always felt that I never quite measured up, and it stressed me out immensely. Now, don't get it twisted. I was far from dumb, but I would call myself slightly above average at best. I brought home decent grades, and my parents seemed just as proud of my B in science as my sister placing first in the Texas Science and Engineering Fair. They never showed any difference in the way they encouraged and loved us both. It was me who imagined that their cheers for her were just a bit louder. I felt my biggest achievement was only half as good as her smallest achievement. I don't want it to seem as though I had self-esteem issues because I didn't. At least I don't think I did. It was only my sister's success that seemed to make me feel displeased with my own. Which was crazy, because not only was my sister super smart, talented, and beautiful, she had a heart of gold and spent a lot of time encouraging me and praising my every accomplishment. There was no sibling rivalry, and my secret green-eyed monster was just that, a secret. I was proud of her in my own way, and after my therapist, yes, therapist, had me start my diary writing years ago, I was able to get past being bothered by my sister's success and start focusing on my own. I worked hard and graduated college in 3 years with my nursing degree and moved from Austin to Houston for my residency. I was studying hard, moving fast, and trying my best to be my best. I was able to live in my family's homestead in Houston. It was a nice single-family home that I visited often as a child because it was where my great-aunt lived before she passed away. I remember I drove down to Houston, followed by my parents in the U-Haul truck with all my things. I was proud of myself. I was leaving home, starting my career, and I was doing it all on my own. My sister, of course, had her own thing going on. She graduated summa cum laude from Baylor Medical School a year prior and was doing great in her endeavors. I was proud of her, and she of me, and we talked every weekend. We were closer now as adults. One night, before she left home for college, I actually confessed my envy of her growing up, which turned into an all-night crying fest for both of us in the childhood room we shared. She admitted to me how she also envied me growing up. I was shocked. Turns out I envied her level of academic success, while she envied my level of social success. I am a very outgoing person, whereas my sister, although a super smart powerhouse, was very shy outside of academic competitions. I had a lot of friends growing up. I was the leader in the majority of all our social clubs in and out of school, which included being captain of the cheerleading squad. My sister was more of a loner, and I figured she liked it that way, because too much social time would get in the way of her getting top-notch grades and succeeding at everything. My sister said it was because she was painfully shy and socially awkward, and that's what she envied about me the most. She said I seemed to always look like I had just stepped out of a magazine and always had some guy crushing on me. My sister was smart and beautiful, and I told her if she had paid more attention, she would have noticed a ton of guys who wanted to get to know her. I just assumed she was taking our mother's warning of books before boys extremely verbatim. Our talk helped a lot and cleared the air between us and brought us closer together. I enjoyed our relationship. We both decided on a career in the medical field. I turned the low-key jealousy of my sister into admiration and allowed that to fuel my own desire to succeed. We became each other's biggest supporters. She shared with me studying tips, which made school a breeze for me, and I shared with her social tips that made her less socially awkward, and she was even dating a great guy who was a doctor near the hospital, where she was doing her residency. After the movers and my parents left on their trip back to Austin, I decided to go to the neighborhood Walmart before dark for groceries and snacks and a few other household items I needed for my new home. On my way back to the house, I received a call from my big sister and was happy when I saw her name come across my iPhone screen. When I answered her call, I could tell by the sound of her voice that she had some really great news to tell me. So I said, "Calm down, sis. What's tea?" Through her heavy breathing, I gathered she was bursting with excitement. My sister was now an engaged woman, and I was super happy for her. She asked me right away to be her maid of honor, and I was looking forward to all the wedding planning we would be doing together for the next 6 months. As I completed the call with my sister, I remember sitting at the red light about a block away from my house. My vision became blurry, and I realized I was crying. Were these tears of joy? It had to be, because I was genuinely happy for my sister. But there was another emotion present, an all too familiar one that I tried to push down, ignore, and deny its existence. It had me picturing my own love life. I attended many weddings since high school, of various friends and family members. I played the role of bridesmaid more often than not. I started thinking about my own non-existent love life, and the many dates I had to cancel or turn down, trying to prove to myself that I was somehow just as smart as my sister. I dated here and there, but never passed a couple of dates with the same guy. I started imagining myself being alone forever and never marrying anyone. I imagined my sister coming over years from now with her handsome doctor husband and 3 adorable children for the holidays to visit their spinster aunt. Yeah, I was starting to spiral. The image played itself over and over in my head. My heart started to race uncontrollably. My breathing became erratic. I tried to pull it back, but the image was too far gone in my mind. I started to physically shake. I was sweating, feeling dizzy and a bit disoriented. I remember taking my foot off the gas and slamming the brakes to try and gain my composure. I remember thinking I should pull into the closest gas station to get myself together. I could hear the horns of all the impatient drivers behind me. My stupid panic attack must have been holding up traffic. I knew the nearest gas station was just a half block away. If I could get there and do my breathing exercises and calm myself down, I would be okay. I don't remember if I ever reached that gas station. I do remember things going dark and quiet, no more horns blowing, no more people shouting, and no more loud, intense heaving from me trying to catch my breath. I do remember briefly waking up in the hospital and trying to focus on the room I was in. I started hearing the beeping of medical machines and saw a mirror on the wall across from my bed. It was hard to focus my eyes, but I saw I was definitely in the hospital and my head was all bandaged up and it was really hard to move. What happened? All this from a panic attack. I tried to move again and reach for the nurse call button. That had to be somewhere nearby, but I couldn't move, and suddenly, without warning, everything went dark again. I could no longer hear the beeping of the machines. The voices around me, which I'm assuming came from the nurses and doctors attending to me, became more and more garbled with time. I wondered if my parents and sister had been contacted. I wondered exactly what my injuries were. I couldn't speak, I couldn't move, and panic started to creep in. I started to lose time. The nights would come so fast and then daylight would disappear even faster. I wasn't sure how long I had been in the hospital. The days all rolled into one, and then suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, I was fully dressed and standing outside of my new home. I had no memory of being discharged from the hospital or even talking once to a doctor about my injuries. Maybe my memory was just foggy from all the medication I must have been given. None of it made sense, but I was so happy to be home. Always Jade.